Hey, Head Turner, welcome back. If you are new here, I'm Monique Head, and this is the place where self mastery becomes a lure. I share tips on how you can use your feminine influence so that you can be the woman who gets what she wants in both love and life. Now, when you think like the common woman, you're going to get common woman results, right? When you think like the masses, you're going to get results like the masses. And I want to offer to you that most people don't have the results that they want. Most people are not yielding fruit in their life, right? And I remember years ago, I had gone to a seminar. It was a personal development workshop, and I remember hearing that if you want to be successful, look at what 90% of the population is doing and do the opposite. Now, I've always been a person who's productively countercultural, so that has always worked for me, and I found truth in that. And I'm sharing this because when you think about like the dating landscape, most women are saying that there's a lack of decent men. There's a lack of decent men. And so when you think about this mindset, well, first of all, let me say this. There's not a lack of decent men. There's a shortage of men, period. There is a shortage of men. Every woman is not going to be able to get a man. There's not one man for every woman. So, just with that information, in this video, we're going to talk about what it's going to take for you to feel like you can keep up and compete in the dating marketplace so that you don't get left behind. Okay. And also, let me say this, when I'm saying compete, I don't mean girl against girl for like one guy. Although in the bigger picture, that's kind of what it is, but that's not what I'm saying. I mean, when you feel like you can compete, when you feel like a competitor, that means that you feel equipped, you feel confident to go for what it is that you want. You know, every woman's not gonna get a man, just like everybody's not gonna make it to the kingdom of heaven. But you trying to do what you can do to secure your spot, right? And you're not doing it like, no, you ain't going to heaven. No, you do what you can do to make sure that we all get there, right? That's the collaboration. That's the part of the feminine spirit of collaboration. So so yeah, let's talk about it. Let's talk about what's going to make you different so that you can attract the man you want, that you can attract a good man when it looks like there aren't any, when everybody else is saying that there aren't any. But before that, let me talk about this mindset and what that does when you feed into that mindset, when you allow that mindset to feed you versus starving it off. Because when you look at the landscape, sure, it's like people are saying, you can look at the comments on YouTube and different videos, and people are like, dating is trash. Nobody's, there's a lack of decent men. But when you adopt that mindset, number one, you don't even have motivation, right? And you begin to see men differently. Because my question would be like, do you even appreciate men or do you judge them? The second thing is when you adopt that kind of mindset that there's a lack of decent men, it's like you're starting from the bottom. It's like, what kind of conditioning is that? You're starting from a lower place rather than coming from this place of abundance and fullness and belief. And when you do that, it's like you're not even looked the part. You're not even putting in effort to attract what it is that you want. When you have that mindset, then what you want becomes like this thing, like it's not even a worthwhile dream. It's not even a worthwhile desire. And then, hello, talk about flatline. Like, who wants to be like, you don't want that. You don't want that. You want to step into a way that feels really expansive. It feels good. You get a lift, you get a light. And knowing that there are men who are available for you, just like everybody won't make it to the kingdom, but you can. Okay. And you don't want the masses. You don't want the pool that everybody's dipping into, right? You don't want to, how can I say this? So let's think about the landscape for a moment, because well, first of all, I think I wanted to say this if I hadn't said it already, is that when you adopt this sort of mindset and this perspective that there's a lack of decent men, it really does impact us. Like when we have a desire for something, but it seems like it's not there, it impacts our psyche in the way that we show up. And so what I'm seeing is that you're not even looking the part, right? It's impacting that. And the women that I work with, I'm teaching them, listen, you live your life and you look good while doing it, because decent men are around. They're not hiding anywhere. They're at Sam's, they're at the gas station, they're picking up their children from school. They're out and about. They're living life just like you are. You want to make sure that you are showing up in a way that you can be seen. You want to make sure that you are positioning yourself in a way that you stand out. And that's what your feminine influence can help you to do. Okay. And let me say this too, because right now, when the landscape looks bleak, When it looks like a dry season, when it looks like trash, that is the opportunity there, right? That's how I know that men are desiring your feminine influence. They desire the feminine influence. There's so many men right now who have podcasts and they're trying to give you the game, but you don't want to listen. You're not even getting it, which doesn't make sense. Like, how are you not going to listen to? How are you not going to listen to, um, like the object of your affection, right? You have to be a magnet. You have to be attractive to your own desires. And I'm saying this because when I talk about, number one, you don't do that for work, right? You're doing your research. You're doing to see what does it take to be qualified for this job? What do I need to do? And you go to school, you get your education, but somehow when it comes to attracting men, you feel like it's beneath you and below you. You feel shame for trying to get a man when this is God's design for you, right? And if you have that desire in your heart to attract the kind of man you want, know that that desire is spiritual in nature, and it really does represent a divine plan for your life. So don't run from it, run to it, step into it. Let's get into it. Okay. Okay. So to go back to what I was saying about opportunity, the thought that I just had is like, have you ever heard about, how many millionaires are made in a recession? That's what this is. Right? When it looks like it's a dry season, when it looks like it's a drought, when it looks like people are not qualifying, that's the time for you to be able to stand up and stand out, because guess what? Men are desiring your sophistication. They desire a woman with a sense of elegance. They desire a woman who can teach them something, just a little bit, right? Not like you know it all, but just a little something. They're desiring a woman to make them feel something different. So many women are showing up is filth coming out of their mouth, wearing leggings that don't even fit their frame and their body shape. Um, you know, you see it, right? And what I'm saying this because when you believe that, this is what happens, right? You're not living your life and looking good. You're showing up like the masses. You're showing up like the common woman. And when you do that, you're going to get common woman results. But now let's talk about it. Let's talk about what it's going to take for you to step into your influence so that ultimately you can find a decent man and defy the odds when it looks like there's none around. Girl, this is your chance to stand out. This is your chance to stand out. And most men have been saying this since I've been interested in boys, which is like, I don't know, 12 or so, that there's a lot of women around, there's a lot of girls around, but they're not quality. That's not nothing new. That's not something that's recent. You've heard this before. Okay, so now you're like, okay, Monique, I'm listening. You have my ear. How can I stand out? So good. To make this happen, to help you to stand out, we use one of the skills within the feminine influence path to becoming framework, right? Discovering your influence style. So discovering your influence style is the actual skill. And your influence style is your unique feminine gift offering. It's the thing that you bring to the table that cannot be found in your bank account. It cannot be found in the menu of meals that you cook. It's found in your unique nature. It's the true essence of who you are. It's the magic that makes you you. And once you have it, you're able to step into your own unique brand of femininity, and you understand what makes you stand out. It is that little je ne sais quoi, that little something that you might feel is missing, but also the thing that really makes you really unique. And so when men encounter that, when men encounter your influence style, your unique influence style, they're drawn to it. They feel like, oh my gosh, you're so different. And guess what? You don't have to be the prettiest woman. And this is the thing that makes you compete. Listen to this. The Bible tells us, when we think about Esther, and the story of Esther is about a woman who came into position for such a time as this, right? And so I want you to think about that for your own life as well, because the Bible tells us that it was Esther's pleasing disposition that gained her favor with the king. Esther's influence style was her pleasing disposition. And with that, right? With that, she was able to, it was her beauty that really got her. It was her beauty that got her into the king's palace, but it was her influence style that really helped to secure and close the deal. And so as I'm thinking about this, right, I suspect that she wasn't like the way that the Bible tells the story. It's not like she was really all of that from what I suspect. And really, here in Missouri, we have in Branson, Missouri, which is this really charming and quaint town. They have this place called Sight and Sound Theater. Now, apparently, Sight and Sound Theater, I had never heard of it until I moved here to Missouri, but it's like the Broadway of Christian plays. And I can't say every year, but I guess every season they do a different play. And recently, just for Mother's Day last year, we saw the play Esther. Before I had seen, I want to say, Solomon. Was it Moses? Yes, Solomon. So it's really cool if you're ever thinking about visiting Missouri, which I would highly recommend. Go to Branson. Branson is like a little Las Vegas. It's really a charming and quaint town. It's really beautiful. But I would recommend you visit, but go to the Sight and Sound Theater. But when I had and check it out. So anyway, I'm saying that to say when I watched the play, they really portrayed Esther as this like very humble woman who was she was different than all the other women. Like all the other women were like, what am I going to wear to meet the king? Because remember, the Bible told us, right, that the women were in the harem, and that, when it was their time to have their night with the king, they did, right? And it was Esther. All the other girls were like hating on each other. It was like a real catty situation. It was like, what am I going to put? Like, they were just trying to hate to make sure that they were going to secure their spot, right? But what the Bible tells us is that Esther asked Haggai, I believe that's how you pronounce the name, the eunuch, well, what should I do, right? That was the thing that made her unique. That was the thing that allowed her to stand out. And then when she went to the king's palace, when she went to the room, she closed the deal, right? And I'm not saying in the play they portrayed it as like the king was just so tired. It wasn't like in an intimate scene, but it was really, really good. I'm sharing that with you because it doesn't require a lot. All you need is the feminine, and all you need is the framework, right? There are 6 skills that every woman needs to master in order to be the woman who gets what she wants, right? When you have these skills within the feminine influence path to becoming framework, helps you to find your allure. It helps you to find your allure so that you can be that woman who gets what she wants in love and life. Going back to this idea of common, right? I'm probably reaching here. I know I'm reaching here, but I'm gonna say it anyway. Because when Esther got to the palace, when all the women got to the palace, they were not able to go back to what, to use my mother's language, common settings, right? They were not able to go back to the home. They weren't out there for the streets and to go back to the regular people. Once they had been elevated to the palace, that is where they had stayed. And once you're in the palace, it may look like there's not enough people around you, but there's the king's court. There's people that works in the palace. Even if you don't get the king, you're still in a higher level of position. Does that make sense? I'm saying this because you don't want to operate in the way that common women do. And because we are the children of God, right? Because we're like our Father, whose ways are higher than our ways, whose thoughts are higher than our thoughts, then guess what? Your ways are also higher. Your thoughts are also higher. That's why you don't operate. That's why you don't operate in the common realm. I said I'm reaching, but I'm gonna go for it anyway. That's what I believe. That's it. That's it. Once you have been elevated with these feminine influence skills, you're gonna see like, oh, so this is where the man at. Okay. Where they coming from? They all coming out the woodwork because you're showing up differently and you're operating in the feminine influence, which is what men desire from you anyway. That's what they want. Having this skill, right? Having all the skills it's a holistic approach. Having all the skills are really great, but having this skill in particular is really good because it helps you to attract the man you want despite the odds. You get to defy the odds, right? While everyone else is up here struggling like, dang, how she doing this and how she doing that? You just like, listen, you know what you know, right? It takes what it takes. It costs what it costs. And these are the skills that are really laid out for you, right? Listen, if you want to learn more, if you want to hear more about my own feminine philosophies, I want to invite you to join the community of empowered women who are also on the path to be the woman who can get what they want in love and life. Because this process, this is deeper than just dating, right? This is about the woman that you become in the process, which is actually the name of it. So if you want to hear from me via email about more of these feminine philosophies, you can click the link in the description box and sign up to hear more from me. And before we go, I want to encourage you to share this video with one woman that you believe could really benefit from it, because when you share, you add value. Okay. My name is Monique Head, and I will see you in the next video. Take care and God bless. Bye.